Hi guys, my name is Austin Seektoops, and I believe that there are a ton of downsides to social media. Um, First of all, these are just things I got from the text that I really resonated with. Rumors catch on super easily with how easily accessible the internet is, um, as well as that social media makes distinguishing between high quality and low quality content and information really hard. I think, especially with the use of AI now and how popular it is on social media, it makes it really hard, especially for older people, to be able to distinguish what is real and what is not. I've even had my grandparents send me stuff and them asking me, is this real? Just because they genuinely cannot tell. Um, Also, a lot of social media can be very dangerous, especially for little kids. I've seen even my little sister, she's 10, her being on Roblox and other games like that can be really dangerous because kids say, and people who aren't kids have access to these as well, but kids say crazy things when they're unsupervised. Um, Another thing I found a statistic in the book. It says in April of 2010, 15% of teenagers between 12 and 18 reported being cyberbullied. That was, it's crazy to say, that was 16 years ago. I can't even imagine how blown out of proportion that statistic is probably today. But I think that there are quite a few things that we can do to mediate this. First of all, parents monitoring what their kids do on social media. Obviously, adults are in charge of themselves and they can't really do anything unless it's like um, self mediated. But parents definitely have the ability to make sure that they know what their kids are doing on social media. As well as that, us lessening our use of AI because, first of all, it's bad for the environment. Second of all, it's putting slop into the digital space that we don't need. But yeah.
Hi, my name is Jimena Carrion. I'm in group 6. The question says to discuss the dark side of online social media. What are some ways this dark influence might be meditated or contained? Um, I feel like the dark side of social media mostly comes down to how these platforms make money. At the end of the day, they're businesses and they make money from ads. So the goal is to keep us scrolling for as long as possible. That's why dramatic or controversial stuff spreads so fast. It gets attention, and attention makes money. There's also privacy issues. These apps collect data about us, what we like, what we watch, what we click on, what we search up, and they use that to target ads. Sometimes it honestly feels like we're the product in some way. And then there's like the mental health side. Um, the constant notification, likes, um, endless scrolling, can make it really easy to get hooked. It can also lead to comparing yourself to other people all the time, which isn't always healthy. I think some of this could be controlled with better regulations and a little more transparency about how algorithms work. But I also think people need to be more aware of how these platforms are designed to keep us engaged so we can be more intentional on how we use them. Thank you.
Hi, my name is Ella Wise. I'm with Group 6. Our question is about the dark side of the internet and social media and how that could potentially be moderated or contained. I thought this was a pretty interesting part of the textbook because currently the internet and social media seems so sort of like lawless, like seems like really good places for just misinformation and bullying, and it's just, you know, it's sort of a pretty toxic place right now. And thinking back to when I was in, middle school, And, I was like middle school and younger. Like the iPhone came out when I was younger, and then when I was in middle school, I had gotten my first iPod Touch and everything. So, I remember at that time that the internet felt similarly very lawless. It was just super new, and there was not really any type of moderation on, apps like Instagram and stuff. They are a little bit more moderated now. But yeah, back then everything was just so new and it was just crazy. And, I would like to say that the censorship and the mediation has gotten better throughout the years, but I really don't think it has, unfortunately. I think it's just sort of evolved. Like individual apps like Instagram, they have much more censorship sort of like policies in place. Like I know you can't really see things that are violent or not safe for work on there, or usually, if you do, like they get taken down pretty quickly, which wasn't the case years ago when those apps were super new. So that is one good thing, I guess. But besides that, it's still an extremely sort of toxic and just scary place, honestly. You never really know who you could possibly be talking to. You never know where your information is going when you put it in a website, honestly. And yeah, it's just crazy. The cyberbullying and sexual harassment through the internet is still super, super common and prevalent. And it's just unfortunate because it doesn't seem like the internet has evolved much in the years that I've been alive and have been using the internet. Um, so, in regards to attempting to mediate the internet, I don't know if it's like very possible at this point. We have access to so much of it, and everyone on Earth has put so much information on it at this point. And, it's almost like trying to put the toothpaste back into a toothpaste bottle after you've squeezed it all out. It's like, I don't know what we really can do from this point. But protecting the youth, I think, is super, super important. I almost feel like we shouldn't really even allow people under 18 even to, be on social media, or if maybe people under 16, I don't know, but something like that. It seems a little bit harsh, but there I don't really see any other way that we could moderate these apps and the internet, and then once you're beyond 18, it's even harder. Like you don't have a legal guardian and you're just free to be evil on the internet if you want, and it's relatively easy to be anonymous, so yeah, in general, I think that right now the internet and social media are pretty toxic and scary. They're scary places for things like bullying and harassment to happen, and I don't really see a very possible way to mediate this unless we totally, cut people off from it.
The dark side of online social media refers to the negative effects these platforms can have on individuals and society. Apps like Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook allow people to connect and share information quickly, but they also create problems. The one issue is the spread of misinformation, where false or misleading content can go viral and influence people's beliefs. Social media can also increase cyberbullying, online harassment, and unrealistic comparisons that negatively affect mental health. Many users feel the pressure to sorry, would present a perfect vision of their lives, which can lead to anxiety, insecurity, or low self-esteem. With my own experience, social media can also be distracting and addictive, which is because of the constant notification, endless scrolling, which makes it easy to spend hours, which can take time away from school, work, or life relationships. There are ways that direct influence can be reduced, which is basically social media companies are
able to improve content moderation and limit the spread of harmful or false information. Or schools and communities can also teach media literacy so people learn how to question what they see online. For me, as a personal level, setting time limits, taking breaks from social media, which is basically locking my phone up for 2 weeks, and being mindful about what we post or engage can also reduce its negative effects.